was, were. In this video, we will learn how to use the verb to be in the past. Was, were. The form used will depend on the subject. The subject is who is doing the action. Therefore, we need the correct subject-verb agreement. For singular nouns, I, he, she, it, we use the verb was. The negative form is wasn't. This is the contraction for was not. For plural nouns, you, we, they, we use the verb were. The negative form is weren't. This is the contraction for were not. Here is a summary of everything you need to know. The verb was is used for subjects I, he, she, it. The negative form is was not or wasn't. When forming a question, we place the verb at the beginning. Was I, was he, was she, was it. Were is used for subjects you, we, they. The negative form is were not or weren't. When forming the question, we place the verb at the beginning. Were you, were we, were they. Now let's look at some examples. Was. For example, I was excited. The negative form is I was not excited. Or we can use the contraction wasn't. I wasn't excited. He was at school. He wasn't at school. An example of a question is, was she late to the meeting? Were. For example, you were hungry. You were not hungry. Or we can use the contraction weren't. You weren't hungry. We were late. We weren't late. They were at the park. They weren't at the park. An example of a question is, were they late to the meeting? Was and were are commonly used in three situations. The first is in the past simple tense. This tense is used to describe something that has already happened. The sentence structure is the subject plus the verb in the past form. For example, I was late to the meeting yesterday. The subject is I and was is the verb. Here the verb was is in the past form of the verb to be. Another example is, she was upset last night. The second use is for the past continuous tense. This tense is used to describe a past situation that was ongoing. This action may have been interrupted or another action also occurred. The sentence structure is subject plus was or were plus the verb ending in ing. For example, I was walking home when my mum called me. The subject is I, followed by was, and walking is the verb ending in ing. Another example is, They were talking on the phone. Lastly, we use these verbs when forming the passive voice. The passive voice is used to describe what is done to someone or something, so the importance is placed on the action or what happened. For example, the ball was thrown by Jane. So in this example, we're focusing on the action of the ball being thrown, not who threw it. Another example is, the students were taught English. In this example, we're focusing on the action of the students being taught.